Welcome to the Smart Connector, the podcast that builds your influence, wealth, and success as an entrepreneur. If you're tuning in because you're a service-based business owner, coach, or consultant, if you're an expert who sells and delivers their own services, and if you want to know how to attract more clients with less time and effort, I've created a free masterclass especially for you. The link's in the show notes below, or you can visit my website www.janebayler.com to join. Enjoy the episode. Hi, and welcome to the first of my solo Smart Connector podcasts on the ever-exciting topic of entrepreneurship and growing your business. I'm Jane Bayler, your host. I'm a serial entrepreneur, author, and investor. I've developed, scaled, and sold multiple businesses across different sectors. And in these solo episodes, I've committed to bring all my best lessons to you. These episodes are short in contrast to my interviews, so you can consume them in one short and easy burst, giving you some food for thought throughout your day or evening and hopefully making you feel supported, inspired, and a little further along in your own entrepreneurial journey. So today's episode is going to be about a topic that many entrepreneurs are obsessed with, which is about working smart, not hard. If you own your own business, you're mostly going to be in charge of your time, which can be a blessing or a curse. We entrepreneurs love the luxury of not being told what to do by anyone else. We didn't leave our jobs and go into business only to feel like we have another job that drains so much of our time and energy that we become like a sad shadow of our former selves. Instead, we want the rewards of entrepreneurship, the time, the money, the freedom and choice to do what we want, when we want, and where we want. And that's really what this episode is all about. Most of us have to engage with others to achieve our success, and the more independence, freedom, and success we want, the more we have to have people and systems and teams in place to support that growth. Otherwise, what happens is we end up tearing our hair out, working insane hours and wearing multiple hats, none of which fit particularly well. We get trapped in a place I call the harder hustle loop, where we're just stuck on a treadmill of endless low-level tasks, and we have the illusion of progress because we're busy, but we're not prioritizing the right things. We're actually bringing a scarcity mindset to our business if we do this. So instead of supporting our growth, we're actually stifling it. Or even worse, we allow other people to stifle it, which I also see a lot. Instead of listening to our family or friends who don't understand or appreciate the way entrepreneurship works and who try to impose their limited worldview and fear-driven mindset on us, we need to take on the attitude and swagger of successful action takers and entrepreneurial big thinkers who are willing to back themselves and take on risk. Because without risk, the rewards are going to be slow to arrive. Too slow, sadly, in some instances, for businesses to even survive. So we need to get clear about the stuff that matters and be ruthless with our time, and that's working smart. I see a lot of people going into business and playing small because they aren't generating cash flow at the start. They're in a negative cash flow situation. They think that the answer to this is to do everything themselves, whether it's the bookkeeping, the social media repurposing, the basic admin, or anything else. They tire themselves out doing what one of my mentors called the $10 an hour tasks. And what this means is that they often never get to the $10,000 an hour task because they think they have to justify the right to do that high-level work. So today I have a message for you, which is that you need to find time to do the $10,000 an hour work on a daily basis in your business from the word go. All those tasks that could be done equally well by a teenager, a virtual assistant, an outsourced lead generator, or someone who's actually trained and qualified in the thing that you're not really interested in becoming an expert at and are only just starting to learn, for example, video editing. That needs to be done by other people, ideally, so that you can focus on your key income generating results areas. In other words, the tasks that are going to get you away from that treadmill of crazy business that leaves you exhausted and depressed. If you're ambitious and you want a great business and a great life, which I'm sure you do, you need to build your systems from the word go. You need to delegate and outsource as cheaply as possible in the first instance, and also build high level strategic partnerships to complement your strengths. And be clear about those $10,000 an hour tasks. What do they look like? So, here are my top three. The first and the most important one is sales. You need customers, clients, or call them what you will. If you aren't prioritizing the acquisition of customers and making time for this daily, you're not just slowing your growth, you're putting your whole business at risk. If you started your business, you need to be the chief rainmaker. You can get others to bring leads to you, but unless you're operating a hands-free e-commerce model, you are the one that needs to close or enroll people directly, and certainly in the early days, so they put that cash into your bank account. Again, and as your business grows, this is one of the tasks you can outsource, but never make the mistake of disappearing completely when you have clients in the picture. One of my sectors is property, and people don't really think about having clients in this sector, although ultimately their tenants are their clients as they pay the bills. However, property is a massively people-oriented business and it revolves around teams. So even in this sector, and whether it's technically labeled as sales, you always need to bring your best energy and efforts to making people understand why they need to step up and commit to making you their number one choice. The second $10,000 an hour task is strategic direction, planning for growth and success, and reviewing and revisiting those plans to take into account market feedback and changes. I recommend blocking out some time to do this weekly, asking yourself what's worked well, what isn't working so well, and why. What lessons have you learned and what would you do differently as a result next time? Entrepreneurs that succeed are leaders of themselves, and by this I mean they're people who are able to be honest with themselves and recognize when things aren't working and need to change. Also, it's been proven that entrepreneurs who check in and review their goals frequently are much more successful than those who don't. So make this a regular activity, at least once a month. And watch out for the saboteurs and people with conflicting agendas that start to dominate. Your agenda needs to be uppermost at all times, although if you can create a win-win for others and leverage your own expertise, you'll go further sooner. The third $10,000 an hour task is messaging, to ensure you're out there in the market with a message that speaks powerfully to and resonates with your ideal clients. Now, I know a lot of people struggle with this and they say things to me like, English is my second language and I don't feel confident expressing myself, or I'm dyslexic and words have never been my thing. Now, I get this, but communication isn't something you can or should delegate to others. Communication is the power of you expressed. I've known people who've had English as a second language. Their grammar's poor and their vocabulary limited. And I've also known people who didn't pass a single English GCSE due to their learning issues or brain chemistry. And I've known them say exactly what they want to say in exactly the way they want to say it, however imperfectly. And you can too. It's only confidence and self-belief that's holding you back. Think about how you feel when you're with your very best friend in the world. How do you talk to them? What do you say? Your challenge is to bring that level of disclosure and transparency into your business communications. And I know you can do it. You can use a transcription service like rev.com or a proofreader to correct your grammar and punctuation if this is your weakness, but never make the mistake of outsourcing your communications consistently, unless you can afford a top copywriter who absolutely nails your difference and knows how to express it in a way that makes people step up and take action to buy from you. Personally, I can always spot the difference between social media posts and blogs that are written by outsourced VAs because they lack soul and they're bland and formulaic, a bit like a McDonald's ready meal, and that just turns people off and turns them away. Now, I know a lot of entrepreneurs will be starting their businesses with no money, picking themselves up from the ashes of failure. No capital or savings, no family members to borrow from, nothing. Maybe even a credit history that's shot to pieces so they can't take on debt, loans, or credit cards to fund their growth. I speak to people like this, and actually, today has never been a better time to be an ambitious but broke startup because you've got nothing to lose. And there are so many free and cheap resources like this podcast to help and advise you. Now, if you're a startup with no money, you've got dreams and goals that you should cherish. You want the rewards of entrepreneurship, as discussed before, the freedom, the choice, the money. But you've actually got nothing right now, and financially you're back against the wall. You know that money would help you grow faster, but you have none or access to none. You can't invest until you make enough to cover your basic outgoings. You have only one choice. You have to build your business through sweat equity. And that means you have to work hard, very hard, before you can work smart. There's no way around it. So many entrepreneurs embark on their businesses doing just that, and sometimes it works out for them and sometimes it doesn't. If you're in that position, you can work smarter by partnering by someone who has the resources you don't. So you're bringing your labor and they're bringing something else of value, money, expertise, contacts, to make your hard work work for you. But sometimes that partner might try to take advantage of your vulnerability, swoop in and help themselves to an unreasonably large share of your fledgling business. So be very careful about giving away too much in the early days. Perhaps you can be more resourceful and find the money or help you need from elsewhere. Now, there's no doubt about it, investing your own or other people's capital to fund your growth will make your journey smoother and you'll increase your chance of success and speed it up too. But don't be crazy. If you really have nothing to your name, your priority should be to make sure you and your family survive without being made homeless or having no food in the fridge. There are plenty of sharks who will take your money without delivering anything of value in return. So watch out for them, do your due diligence, and make your investments wisely. Having said that, one of the differences that marks a successful from an unsuccessful entrepreneur is their level of resourcefulness. Think about it. When was the last time you really wanted something you couldn't afford? A holiday, perhaps, a pair of really cool shoes, something your children wanted and needed. Perhaps it was a never-to-be-repeated experience to celebrate a special milestone for you and your family. Maybe it was something for your health. Even if you couldn't afford it, were you resourceful enough to go and find the means to go and do it or buy it? I'm a very resourceful person. And several years ago, when my husband's business was collapsing and we were really short on money, I transferred all expenditure in my business and personal life onto an Air Miles credit card and accrued enough points for us all to take a week's holiday in the sun. Now, that's a small example of resourcefulness, but that same level of determination and out-of-the-box thinking needs to be applied to your business. When I start businesses, I put in both time and money because I know that that's giving it the best chance of success, and I really encourage you to do the same if you can. In the same way, if you're not willing to be resourceful, back yourself and invest in your business, I would question whether you actually believe in yourself or whether you're secretly expecting yourself to fail, which is a limiting belief that you do have to challenge. So let's get back to working smart or hard. In the early days of any business, you will probably have to do both. I've seen many entrepreneurs exit corporate careers where they reached a level of seniority and had a team to leverage, thinking they can just put in the same 35 hours and have the life that they had before, but with all the freedom and rewards of entrepreneurship built in from the word go. Now, I'm sorry to say this, but this just isn't the way it works. You will need to work hard and smart from the word go. Do what others won't so you can have what others can't. Be willing to sacrifice evenings, weekends, early mornings, do whatever it takes to get you out of that harder hustle loop as fast as possible. Otherwise, you'll find yourself stuck on the hamster wheel for far too long. You need to build those systems, those teams, and get yourself out of the time for money trap that puts a ceiling on your income and leaves you in that just above broke place you wanted to escape from. You need to get yourself onto the path of powerful expansion, where working hard is in your ideal time frame and working smart is built into every fibre of your beautiful business. I hope this has been useful and I wish you every success with your entrepreneurial journey this year. Thanks for listening to the Smart Connector podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Before you go, I wanted to remind you that if you're a consultant, coach, or professional service provider who's not hitting your revenue goals because you don't have enough clients, or if you're so busy serving your clients you don't have the time to market yourself properly, if you're struggling to stand out with unpredictable revenues, good months and bad, I invite you to head on over to my free masterclass. The link's in the notes, or you can go to www.janebayler.com to register. And if you've enjoyed the show and leave an iTunes review, send a screenshot to me at jane@janebayler.com. I'll put it into the draw to win a $50 Amazon voucher, which we give away monthly to our best supporters. Look forward to seeing you again soon.